Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another episode of On the Air with Tim and Ken. Ken, it's good to see you.
Tim, it's great to be back for another episode. This is kind of like our 1 year anniversary almost, Super Bowl Sunday, which is coming up in a couple days. Um, who thought we'd make it this far? But
Un-
it's been a
un-
lot of fun,
yeah, it's been great.
and we thank everybody
Unbelievable.
for watching. So
Yeah, unbelievable. Almost a full year. The FCC hasn't shut us down yet. We've had some great viewers, subscribers. I want to thank everybody for reaching out to us over the past year and giving us some good feedback. And we ignore the bad feedback, so don't even bother with that. I have one shout out. We heard from Max out in LA area. He's a movie producer, a screenwriter, an actor, a director. He's doing it all, and he's got a great career ahead of him. And he encouraged us. He saw the podcast, Ken. He loved it. He wants us to keep going. He's going to keep watching.
that's great. We're happy he's watching. And I got a shout out to Justin from North Carolina. He's a subscriber. He's one of those 25-year-olds that doesn't pay for streaming. So, we've talked a lot about that. I'm not really going to talk a lot about streaming today, but I was talking to him the other day. I said, "Do you pay for streaming?" He goes, "Nope, never will do it." So that'll be interesting to see where those streaming prices go in the future. And
Yeah.
Tim, we didn't make it to the Super Bowl media row, which I think, used to be known as radio row, but our production company did. So, we're very happy for the production company. They've got we made them provide video to us, which I think you're going to see now. And that our production company made it to media row at the Super Bowl. Hopefully next year we'll do it, but we don't want our fans to worry. We have an ironclad contract. The production company's not going anywhere. It's not like one of those flimsy NCAA football coaches contract.
Right.
They can just walk away whenever they want. So our production team is here. They're staying here. And, speaking about NCAA football and the money in sports, just a lot going on there.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. We're going to close the loop on that on this episode. But before we get into that, just a disclaimer, everybody. The same disclaimer as you always hear. This is just for fun. Don't take anything we say seriously. Don't make a wager based on it or based on something we don't say. Don't buy a franchise without talking to us first. Just have a great time with all of it. Enjoy the Super Bowl coming up. We're going to get into some wagering stuff a little bit, but just keep everything within your limits. So, but getting back to the NCAA, we've talked about this with the NIL money. There's so much going on. We wanted to kind of close the loop on it for at least the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months. But I wanted to talk about a great quarterback, Carson Beck, a name that may be familiar to a lot of folks. He just finished playing another season with Miami, but prior to that, he had 4 years with Georgia, had a great career there. More recently, he transferred after graduating from Georgia. He put himself back in the portal. Now he's at Miami. He just played in the championship game. Miami lost it in the finals, but he had a great season. He's probably sticking around in Miami because he's supposedly getting about $3 to $4 million per season as a quote unquote graduate student there. And a reporter asked him a question about his scholastic aptitude and what's going on with the schooling, and his comment was kind of tongue in cheek. He was laughing about it and said, "Oh yeah, no class. I graduated 2 years ago." But it brings up some bigger issues that you want to get into, Ken. What's going on with the NCAA? What's going on with these?
I mean, I think since the settlement, right? We talked about that back in June. I think it was podcast 10, where the NCAA and the NI and the athletes agreed on NIL money.
Right.
Everybody wants a piece. Lawyers, athletes, agents. It's really gotten out of control. Congress has threatened to get involved.
Yes.
I don't, people are bringing court cases, student athletes are bringing court cases to get extra eligibility. And this had been predominantly a football issue. But
Mm-hmm.
now you got men's college hoops where a lot of the, star players, or at least they were star high school players, are trying to get in the NBA after 1 year. A lot of them aren't succeeding. So you have people trying to get back into college because they want the NIL money, and they're going to court. I don't know where the end is. I mean, to me, the funniest one is there's a former UCLA player, Amari Bailey, who was a 2023 draft pick of the Charlotte Hornets. He's actually played in some NBA games. He's not playing right now, so he wants to go back to college, saying, well, I technically would be a senior in college, so I should be allowed back in. And nowhere did I hear him declare his major. Like I don't know if he needs to take the SATs again.
Right.
Does he need high school guidance counselor letter recommendations? Does he even need to fill out a college application? Like it's off the rails.
Yeah.
I don't know
I think
where it's going to go, but
I think it's great
time
they're
will
making the
tell.
money because they are the athletes, and it's like you said, it's going to be focused in football and basketball primarily. That's where the money, that's where the TV revenue and the sponsorship and the alumni donate a lot to those sports. What's going to happen? You got to layer that with Title IX, and I think what's going to happen is when money starts to focus on these two sports, you may see other sports go away, and that's kind of sad. We're kind of losing our way here. I think it's great that these young people are making all this money. I have no problem with that, but like you said previously, call it what it is. You're a pro, you're representing a university or a college. And until the NCAA or Congress or whoever, all these litigation things play out, it's the wild, wild west. It's not working. They've got to sort this out. You mentioned to me just before we went on the air, there was I think it was a public university, a state university, that had tremendous losses in sports.
Florida State, yeah. So, first of all, the Wall Street Journal came out with a story on football valuation, football programs, with Texas having a team valuation of over $2 billion. Like, and why would you need that, right? Like, why would anybody need a valuation? And you and I have discussed offline that, and we've even discussed it here in some of our prior podcasts, that private equity is sitting there waiting to get involved. They have the cash that these universities need because the universities have spent all the money they've gotten. And it was a report the other day, Florida State is $437 million in athletic department debt.
Unbelievable.
Now, I don't know how that happens,
Right.
but it's an awful lot of money. I think, we've talked that private equity is sitting there waiting. They want a piece.
They want a big piece of it. Yep.
They want a big piece, right? They probably have influential alumni who are going to force their way in. If you want my donations,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to have to let my private equity group in. And
Yep.
it's a mess right now. I don't know what the answer is, and
Right. And like you said,
time
these
will tell.
valuations, the only reason you'd evaluate any of these these programs is because either you're going to sell a piece of it or you're going to leverage it and borrow against it. So there's no other reason to put a value on any of them, right? I mean, why would you?
I I think they're cash poor. I think a lot of these athletic departments are spending it right when the SEC just distributed $1 billion to the 18 teams in the conference, and it comes out to about 72 million a team, a school.
Mm-hmm.
Now, LSU just wrote a check for 54 million to Brian Kelly to not longer be the head coach. So in a sense, their distribution went to pay off a coach that they fired.
Yeah,
So it's not even going to the right places. It's not even going, to the softball team or the volleyball team or the track and field team. It's going to these coaches who they're giving, 50, 60, $70 million in guaranteed money.
crazy, especially at the public university level. They've lost their way. They got to figure it out, and it's got a ways to go. But the genie's out of the bottle. Um, you know, we're going to watch this, but we probably won't bring it up again until something dramatic happens, and that could be months or a year out. But the portal's a mess. The money's crazy. Nothing's working right. But at the end of the day, continue to support your school, support the sports because you love the sports, and it'll play out. It'll be different going forward. And like you said,
Yeah,
the hedge funds
as
will get in there.
they
They'll
will
be
get in there. And look, as we've said, many times, it's okay to call them employees. I know nobody wants to do it for legal reasons, but they really are pro athletes representing universities.
Mhm.
And, before we jump into the next topic, Tim, I was thinking about all these former players, basketball players trying to get back into college. And LeBron James has never played college basketball.
You're right.
and his career is coming to an end. He's got a son at the University of Arizona. Maybe as a retirement hobby, he could enroll in Arizona and play, and chase the NCAA title. This is probably the only major title that he doesn't hold.
And you make a great point because while he's played in the NBA for 20 plus seasons, obviously, he's never played at the college level. So how has he used up his college eligibility? It'd be a great case to argue. He's got the money to back it, the litigation. Interesting argument. Other players have signed NBA contracts or other pro contracts and gone back and played. So the door's open for that. There's the precedent. Like you said, his son's there. What else does he have to do? Be great to go back and
Uh,
you know
We, we tried to get into the Knicks. That didn't work. So now we're going to try to get into the University of Arizona. We'll see. We'll see if that works.
yeah,
So, but speaking about LeBron, I know you've done a lot of research on the Bus family and
yeah.
how they're tied to LeBron, and there's some friction maybe between some of the Bus children and LeBron.
There is. I didn't intend to go in this direction, but with the trading deadline this week and all that, and all the rumors flying about LeBron James and his career, is he going to be traded, not traded? I started looking up the ownership of the Lakers, which is everybody knows is the Bus family. But I wanted to get a little bit of background on them. I thought it was kind of interesting. Jerry Buss bought the team. This was a great investment. 1979, $67.5 million he paid for the team back at that point. And interesting thing about Jerry, uh, super bright guy. He was a chemist, a real estate investor, and a little bit later in life, a world class poker player for the big time money. Um, so he bought the team in 1979. In 2013, he passed away. Last year, 2025, the family sold 66% of the team to Mark Walters. Now, Mark owns the LA Dodgers, so he's controlling that whole thing. I'm not going to get into Mark Walters tonight, but he's the majority owner of the Lakers now. And the team was sold at a $10 billion valuation, highest valuation in sports history, not just the NBA, sports history.
That's
So
enormous.
right? So Jeannie Boss, she's a minority owner. She is still like the governor, but she manages the team, which is very unusual because she has like less than 15% or about 15% ownership. But the NBA owners allowed her to continue on to retain basically the day-to-day management of the team. And I think they did that because she got that valuation so high, every other team went up in value too. So that was probably part of the deal. I'll sell out, $10 billion valuation. I stay on. Now, to tie it into LeBron, over the last week or two, I've heard a lot of reports. Everybody else has too. A lot of speculation about LeBron. Jeannie Boss and him have kind of been tit tat fighting in the media a little bit. They're not really seeing eye to eye on whatever. We really don't know. But the trading deadline has passed. He's with the Lakers. He's going to continue to play there. This is his last season under contract there. Whether he retires or not after the season, we don't know yet. He hasn't announced anything.
Or go to Arizona.
He'll go to Arizona and maybe play on the golf team or the basketball team, whatever he wants to do. Arizona or go somewhere else, go back to Cleveland, whatever. We'll see what he does or retire. So that's the story with LeBron, with the Buss family and all the
The
money.
biggest thing about the valuation is the NBA has hinted that there's going to be expansion coming up,
Right.
and that's a big benchmark to start setting the prices for the future expansion teams. So it's a big profit for the league. It's a big number. Um, but I think tonight we're recording this on Friday is the opening night of the Olympics. Tim, is the hockey arena done? Are we going to see the NHL players in the Olympics this year?
That I'm told we are with the Olympic arena is done as far as the fan experience goes. The rink is safe. The NHL players are going to be there. They said some of the locker rooms and some of the behind the scenes things aren't quite done. They've been working round the clock this past week to get everything in place. It's ready to go. I got some interesting stuff on the Olympics, and the Olympics are great. So everybody enjoyed the Olympics. They're kicking off this weekend. It's going to be a great thing. So I was looking into the gold medal, right? Everyone wants to win the gold medal. Now, the gold medal is no longer made of gold. It's only gold, a very thin layer of gold plate. It's 92.5% silver, and the rest of it is primarily bronze. So you don't really win a gold medal anymore. The last gold medal was the real gold medal was 1912 when they were full gold medals.
Yeah,
Um,
Tim, that's important. I know Bill from Florida likes to dabble in the gold and he follows the price of gold. He's going to be happy to hear that from you so he doesn't get, snookered into in buying a gold medal thinking it's all gold. So
yeah, yeah. If I have any
he's going
gold
to
questions,
appreciate you giving that information out.
yeah, if we have anything on gold, we'll go to our source, Bill. He can help us with those commodities and those fine coins.
Um,
We'll reach out to him. Yeah, you're
he's
right.
going to find one of those 1912 gold pieces
He's
of
probably
gold
he's
in a
probably got a
storage
couple
unit or
tucked
something.
away. And just so folks know, I wasn't around in 1912, so that's not my own experience telling you that. That I read that. So the Olympics, just a big overview. You got 90 countries participating, 3,000 athletes from around the world. The U.S. will send 232 athletes there. It's fantastic. Now we all hear about Lindsey Vaughn, and we'll get into her in a second. But one of the youngest athlete from the U.S. is Abby Wittenberger. She's only 15 years old. She's qualified in this new skiing event called freestyle skiing. I don't exactly know what it is, but I can't wait to watch it because it sounds fascinating. On the other spectrum, you got a gentleman, 54-year-old Rich Rahowo. I'm sure I mispronounced his name. I apologize for that. But he's qualified for curling, 54 years old. So you got a 15-year-old, a 54-year-old, and then in the middle you got a 41-year-old Lindsey Vaughn. She first competed in the Olympics in 2002. Now
Wow.
everyone knows she got hurt last week. She says, I'm competing. I'm there. I got an ACL tear. I'm going down that mountain. I'm going to tear ass down there. I'm going to try to win the gold. I hope everything works out well for her. Um, she's important for a lot of reasons. This will be her fifth Olympics. Think about that. Fifth Olympics. Now, she's the only U.S. woman skier to ever win a gold. She's won a gold and two bronze. So good luck to her. Stay healthy. Give her
What an
health.
inspiration, it's what a role model and for her fifth Olympics, right? 20 years.
Yeah, and she gets an injury last week, and she's still going to go at it full tilt down that mountain. And it's all
You
about
wish her the best of luck. You
yeah,
wish her the
yeah,
best of luck. You hope her knee holds up, win or lose. You just hope but what an inspiration. And that'll be one of the probably the most watched,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
events, is her going down the hill.
And
That's
watch the
crazy. That,
hockey
that downhill
season.
skiing is crazy to begin with.
Oh,
Like if you watch that giant. Right.
yeah,
There used to be the old ABC Wide World of Sports, the thrill of victory and the agony and defeat. And the agony of
right.
defeat was always somebody wiping out into a fence or something and going 900
Yeah.
miles an hour. So,
So unbelievable. Good luck to all the athletes. There's 16 sports, 116 medal events. So good luck to all the athletes from around the world. It's a great event. It brings the world together, and you see the best of the best. So I hope it's a great Olympics. I'm sure it will be. And good luck to everybody. I hope they just compete to the level that they hope to, and looking forward
yeah,
to
I
it.
agree. It's great. So,
Yep.
Tim, I don't know whether you heard about Manchester City soccer team.
I have
The
not.
story out. Okay, so I found this fascinating. So, the Manchester City soccer team, which is part of the Champions League, they played a game in Norway, and they admit that their effort was abysmal. So
They
there were
didn't. They didn't
400 of
tank.
their fans that traveled to the game, and the captains are going to personally reimburse them for their game tickets.
Wow.
They thought that was the least they could do. The game was up near the Arctic Circle, and I mean, what great guys that like, they tried. They didn't tank it. It's not
Well, they
like,
didn't tank.
it's
Okay, they just
NBA
had a bad
stuff.
game.
They just had a really bad game. 400 of their fans went to the game, traveled up there, so they're going to reimburse them for their game tickets. It's about $13,000.
Wow.
I don't really see that happen in the NBA or, like in US sports. I don't think I've ever heard that, like, but
Well, that's refreshing to hear. That's very
it is
refreshing.
refreshing to hear.
You know,
So,
we
let's get to the biggest question of the podcast. I've got text messages about it.
I know where
Tim,
you're
are
going.
you going to be able to watch the Super Bowl? We know you've had issues with your cable company. You're like 10
Yep.
miles from Foxborough. You've been blacked out on some games.
Yeah.
Yet the planes are flying over your house.
Traffic
The big
jams.
question is, are you're a Patriot fan? They're in the Super Bowl. Are you going to be able to watch the Super Bowl?
I think so. My look, just to back up, in the last podcast, we hit a nerve with one of our viewers. It was great. I was talking about how I was blacked out from some of the Patriots games, even though, like Ken said, I live nearby and the flyover, I get to deal with the traffic. But my local cable company was trying to save me some money. They said so they blocked out the local station from allowing me to watch the game. And we mentioned that on the podcast, and Kevin from Norfolk, Massachusetts, he might have had a similar experience because he reached out and we hit a nerve with him. Now Kevin, just so you know, Kevin was a great amateur golfer, phenomenal golfer, and so he's one of those guys that back in the day he was very comfortable with a 1 or 2 iron. You won't even see a 1 iron anymore. Tee to green, the guy was phenomenal around the greens. He was really smooth and comfortable. He's just a great golfer. He still loves golf today. So Kevin's very comfortable with a 1 or 2 iron in one hand, and I'll share this. Yeah, I think he's comfortable with a racing form in the other hand. So we get into the spring and the closer to the Derby Day and the Masters. We gotta hear from Kevin. So so
So if
so
we're
get
playing a scramble, we want him on the team where he's one of the
abs-
first calls.
absolutely. So getting back, yeah, I'll be able to watch this game. Thank God, because it's not being blocked out for me. But more importantly, let's get into the Super Bowl a little bit. I got some interesting stuff on the Super Bowl. Before we talk about the teams and the game and all that, I wanted to give a little bit of background on the ownership. Well, the Seattle, they're owned by the Paul Allen Trust because Paul Allen bought the team um, back in 1997. He paid about, this is another good investment, paid about 195 to $200 million for the Seattle Seahawks then. Great deal, right? Today it's valued at about 6.6 billion. Well, he passed away, and it's owned by his family now, and they manage it. Now the Kraft family, prominent family, they purchased the Patriots, very similar, 1994, 3 years prior to the Allen family or Paul Allen buying the Seahawks. They paid 172 million in their valuation today is about 9 billion. Another great investment. So a lot of money
And
there.
and I think Seattle's going to be up for sale in about Monday.
That's right. Because you got too many minority owners. They're probably going to be selling the team because they really have to. You got to have one person controlling it, and because of the trust and all that, it could be Sunday night, could be Monday, but it won't be a fire sale. I won't be in the bidding. Ken, maybe you'll be in the bidding. I
I,
don't
I
know.
I wonder how the price is affected based on a win or a loss, right? Like if they win
Yeah.
the Super Bowl, is it up 100 million or 200 million? And if they lose, does it go down 100 million or 200 million, right? Like,
Well, one thing they've
that
done there, you made a good point. One thing they've done there, I was looking at some numbers on both teams, the Patriots and Seattle. And one thing they've done is they're both well under the cap. Seattle's got 73 million available under the cap. Patriots have 42 million available under the cap. So that's kind of refreshing to see too, that these two teams make it to the Super Bowl and they're under the cap. So to your point about valuation, that's only going to help the Seattle valuation because they got such a great team. The future looks bright. They got room to spend more. So that'll play into the valuation. Could not be one and done. They have opportunity to be prominent for a good run here. But Ken, I got to ask you, getting to numbers and dollars, the players do get paid to play in this game, win
they
or lose.
do. Yeah.
But who also gets paid?
The state of California is going to get paid.
All right.
So the state of California has the highest income taxes in the country, roughly 13 or 14%. And they have what is called the jock tax. And it's the way the allocation works is the days you are in the state of California for work count against your total work days, and then they allocate your total income against that percentage. So if you're in when the teams arrive, they're in meetings, they're having press conferences, they're doing practices, and the game itself.
Yeah.
And they look at all your wages, not just the Super Bowl earnings. Now, if the winning team gets 178,000 per player, and the loser gets
Yeah.
103,000. Now, Sam Darnold, there was an article in this in I think it was Sportico, that Sam Darnold, because he signed a new contract this year and got $32 million signing bonus and $5 million base pay and $3 million in other bonuses, his tax is going to be about 249,000. So his tax to California is going to be more than what he could possibly win by winning the Super Bowl in dollars. I mean, it's it's nothing's fair, right? But like, and it
How's
doesn't even
LeBron feel?
matter if he were to say, I'm not going, I'm sitting home."
Right,
You're
right.
still a member of the team. The team is there. It counts.
You can't escape it.
So yeah. So it's
Speaking
gonna
of
it's
Sim,
gonna cost him money to go play in the Super Bowl. He's writing the check.
even if he wins. Speaking of Sim Donald, interesting thing. He started with the Jets, highly drafted and all that. Great stat. His first NFL pass, touchdown pass. But it was it was picked off and run back for a touchdown. So what a great story though. You got two young quarterbacks, two great stories. You got great coaches, two great teams, both deserving. Nobody expected these two teams to match up like this. 8-9 months ago, the Patriots were 100-1. Seattle was like 30, 40, 50-1 to start the season. No one really saw this coming. So it's a great story. Some people say, "Oh, it's not a great matchup." I think it really is. You get two teams that are hot. They're very well coached. They're very well balanced. I don't know what more you can ask for. The league might want different teams in there for TV and things like that, but you get the two hottest teams going.
Yeah. So I got some interesting stats for you, Tim. I know you
Go
like
for it.
them. So I looked at the last 25 Super Bowls. So the Super Bowls from 2001 on.
Yeah.
Team that is physically closer to the Super Bowl location is 16-9.
Okay.
So that's a,
Philadelphia
a
and
point for
Seattle. Yep.
Seattle.
Yep.
The designated home team, which they flip flop every year, AFC, NFC. This year it's New England, is 9-16.
Okay.
The betting favorite is 11-13-1. There was one time where they were a pick 'em. Here's the one I thought was interesting. The team that has the better regular season record is 6-14.
Hmm.
5 times they had the same record. Give you just a couple more. The team that had heads, regardless of what was called, is 14-11. If you score a defensive touchdown, you're 11-1.
Okay, that makes
I
sense.
mean, it's if you have the older quarterback, you're 11-14. If you have the older coach, you're 15-10. So it's all over the map. When I added it up, my favorite is AFC East is 6-3, and the NFC West is 2-8.
Ooh, wow.
So
Interesting.
stats that may only interest me, but
Yeah.
it's
That
and the
defensive one was good. The defensive touchdown one. That's a telling thing.
and the Patriots are 1-2 in NBC Super Bowls, but the one they won was they beat Seattle. So
Yeah. Well, here's another interesting thing going. I was looking at the two teams over the course of this season, and in common opponents, they're 6-1. They didn't. The Seahawks beat the Steelers. The Patriots lost to the Steelers. In that game, the Patriots had 5 turnovers. The other difference was the Patriots beat Tampa Bay, and Seattle lost to Tampa Bay. So head to head, they're both 6-1. When you look at the stats on the regular season, on the offensive side, Seattle was a little bit better than the Patriots. Um, they scored average 29, just over 29 points per game. The Patriots about 27 points per game. On defense, Seattle's the number one defense. They gave up on average 17.2 points per game. The Patriots weren't far behind them, right? Number 4, 18.8 points per game. So it's really quite. If you look at the stats, Seattle's got
even.
better stats, but not dramatically better. So it should be a great matchup.
So we got predictions.
Well, before I give you my prediction, there's a gentleman, Jim McInville, known as Mattress Mac. I don't know if this is really your name or not, but Mattress Mac, he made a wager this week down at Caesar's Palace in Vegas. Apparently, he bet $2 million straight up on the Patriots to win the game. Now, Whether he wins or not, historically, I don't know. But in 2022, so reportedly, he bet $10 million to it on the Houston Astros. They won. They were somewhat of a long shot. Reportedly, he won $75 million in 2022 in Vegas on a wager. So we'll see what goes on there. But my prediction is I'm going to pick the Patriots in a very, very tight game. They're going to win a regulation by a point or two. It'll be 27-26 Patriots.
I'm hoping for the Patriots, but the the thing that I'm going to go with is this game impacts Jet fans because they hate the Patriots and their former top pick, Sam Darnold, who they kicked to the curb, is now the starting quarterback for Seattle. And spending a lot of time in the New York area, nothing tortures the Jets more than
That's true.
nobody tortures their fans more than the Jets. So I think the thing that would torture the Jet fans the most is Sam Darnold holding the Vince Lombardi Trophy, the guy that they kicked to the curb for Zach Wilson, who's no longer on the team.
Right.
They kicked him to the curb too. So I'm going to go Seattle 21-20. Just hear Sports Talk Radio New York the day after the Super Bowl with Sam Darnold being the MVP, holding the Vince Lombardi Trophy. It's
Yeah.
almost tailor made. You can't help it.
I can't wait to see the New York Post.
So look at the Super Bowl is the longest day of the year. If especially if your team's in it, right? It doesn't start till what 6:30.
Right.
So it's a great time for you guys to do it on the air with Tim and Ken podcast marathon. Show your friends, text your friends to watch it. You can watch us all day long. We've got 26 episodes, and hit like, hit subscribe, and Tim, I think we're looking forward to a great game.
Yeah, looking forward to the weekend. Looking forward to the Olympics. Should be a great game, and I think whichever coach blinks first and makes a bad call, that'll be the deciding factor. If someone's going to go for it on 4th and 2, and they shouldn't, we'll see. I think the players will be great on both sides.
Yeah, and you can follow us on X on Tim Ken podcast. So, looking forward to the game. Tim, hope nothing's changed with the cable company between now and Sunday. And great doing another episode. Great seeing you.
Good to see you. Everyone enjoy the game. Enjoy the weekend.
Thanks, you too, Tim. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining.